Hi, friends.
What's up, guys? How's everyone doing? This is our new time, which will be
Is your volume down?
Oh no. Oh, maybe it is. It is.
Okay. New
the
time, new day.
I know, a new day. It was just Thursdays at 7, right? Or at least our time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually share this to my post because I'm cool like that. So what's going on with you? How was your week? Even though I feel like I just saw you.
My 4 days. It was good. I'm busy at work.
Yeah.
Went to the gym today. If I'm out of breath, it's because I'm fat. Went to the JIM.
No, I'm only kidding. All right, so our talk today is going to be the third movie finally. The boss shared. Thanks, boss.
Thanks, boss.
Third movie of Star Wars. Whoop. Return of the Jedi, Episode 6. And I feel really old because I didn't realize it's like 1983 still. Like we're still, like when I look at the dates on these things, I go, oh my gosh, like 77, 80, and 83.
So you're still like a little kid.
Yeah, I'm still a little kid. You're not even thought of yet, so you're just twinkles in eyes. Yeah, so
How old are you? Like 5?
I'm 45 now, but I'm 76. So you're talking about I'm in the prime age of being in that 6, 7, 8, 9 when the movie first, from the minute it comes out in 77, which is only a year, but like everything after it starts going. And it gets big right when I'm old enough to really. I remember having a Christmas where my parents, they actually did something amazing. We had this one where they set up all the toys.
Really?
So it was still Santa Claus for me at the time. So Santa had
Santa is real.
Yes, had it all set up. So it was a big battle scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where it was, the Empire coming after the rebels, and he had set it all up where I had got the big giant AT-AT, and it was attacking. It was all set up perfectly.
That's pretty cool.
So the minute I woke up,
was that for you or for your dad?
I think it was both. Because I'm convinced.
This is an excuse.
I am 100% convinced that he played the whole scene out and then had to put it all back. Right. Oh, he's gonna play with exactly.
Right.
And as the next morning,
your mom's like, whatever.
No, back in those days, you had to build that. You had to put them all together. So I'm sure she was sitting there with the instructions, pulling her hair out, because those things weren't easy to put together. Some of those are just you pop in, you pop out type of thing. So, I mean, I see some of the toys now, and I think to myself, wow, those are real crappy, but. They were everything at the moment. I mean, the arms were absolutely straight. The guy with the, Obi-Wan Kenobi had this little thing where you hit him and his, lightsaber come out of this, hole in his hand. And you're like, oh! Now I see toys and I'm like, dude, you could, they have, real lightsabers that you can put in their hands.
What are we doing here? Anyways.
You're not buying those toys, trust me.
No. Not for me.
So, so now and now they make new toys now. They make, everything,
everything moves,
everybody is.
It's pretty much a tiny person.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
It is. I've seen people, there's someone on Facebook that I love, and I can't think of his page, and horrible that I can't think of it. But he's from New Zealand, and he takes pictures, and he puts them, in legit scenes, out in the wilderness. He has this one area where it's a beach. It's absolutely beautiful. Where the scenes behind the figures are as beautiful as the scenes of the figures coming at you of There's one where I believe he has one where Darth Vader landed, and it's all these stormtroopers, and he's check over there, check over there. He has little things, and it's oh, that's really good. So where years ago it'd be you wouldn't have.
Now it looks so real.
Yeah, now it does because they blow smoke and they do different things.
Right.
All right. Okay. There's a lot. This movie for me, I ended up asking a lot of questions.
Oh, see me?
No,
Oh,
I had a
in
lot
general?
of questions. Like, because I rewatched this. This was the one movie I said a lot of times, wait, how is this happening? Wait, this doesn't make sense. Don't worry, it's just someone crossing the street talking, not us.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, they can't talk to us on Facebook.
Well, I feel like it's like coming.
No, it's coming next door.
Okay.
All right, we'll be quiet.
No,
over here.
it's definitely us.
No, it's not us. Yeah, see?
Okay. Whatever.
we haven't heard ourselves the whole time. You're going to say right now it is?
It sounds like us.
I know. So it starts off with the giant Empire ship. Everyone starts off that way. They're in space and there's a giant Empire ship. Like, it's the same start.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's how you know the movie's starting.
yeah. And it starts off with the words, which I never read.
You like skip.
Well, no, because I think as you're 7 and 8, you don't read that. Mm-hmm. Like, what kid goes, oh, good.
I don't think I could read at that point. I still can't read.
No, at that point you weren't even around, so definitely.
Well, I meant
when you got this, but you haven't seen them yet. This is the part I really don't care for. We starts off with introducing the new Death Star, so we just blew it up in the first movie practically, and now we have another one that's pretty much, as we see it, almost done. Not completely, like you know, but it's almost done, and I kind of get like. Okay, like it failed the first time, so we're gonna do it again. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like right away, I kind of got like, oh, I forgot about this part. Like you almost think it's the old one, or like I don't know. I didn't think of it, and I was just kind of like, ugh, I don't know. This is something for me, and I understand.
It's like the Titanic. You know how they're like remaking that right now?
Yeah, like they're
like why?
Yeah,
it didn't work the first time.
Well, I'm
sure. With global warming.
Sure, there's not as many icebergs.
But still, I don't think I'd go on it. I think it's cursed now.
Well, it's not. It's but it's It's not cursed because it's a new one. No. It's not like they brought it from the depths and like rebuilt it.
I understand that, but I don't know. I'm not buying it.
And I probably nowadays you're probably safer. You know what I mean? Technology
to not go there. Yeah.
No. We see Vader, and he's basically comes in, and of course, I don't want to make a big deal of. They try to give him a good scene of coming in. You know, there's tons of like the soldiers, so obviously everyone's black and white, and he comes in being all dressed in black, and I don't know. It's just he comes in and basically he's like, look, you need to get this going. Mm-hmm. The Emperor needs this finished like tomorrow. I'm trying to, quickly talk. And so then we switch to the two droids. And then, meanwhile.
Oh, speaking of that, did anyone count last time?
I don't know.
Do you want to know what the number is? What's your guess?
I say 20.
A lot more than that.
I don't know.
It was 36 times.
36 times?
Yeah.
Wow. And there's some meanwhiles in this one, so keep adding.
Keep adding. All right, somebody else add for me.
We see the two droids. I see the beginning of this movie is really good. Mm-hmm. Like I suggest everyone watch the very beginning and the very end, and somewhere
skip
in the
middle.
Yeah, because somewhere in the middle, I was just like, It was like that for me. Now I don't know if it's because I've seen it so many times. I don't want to hate on things because I hate hating on things. I just feel like this was a story. Like we needed to get to the end, and we know what the ending is. We know we have to fight Vader. We clearly know that from the last movie. Yep. We clearly know that we have to save Han Solo because he's frozen and taken off in the last movie. So right away you just say to yourself like, okay, we need to get there. And then there's a story around it. And the story's kind of like deja vu kind of story. Kind of feel like you're like, it's not very strong. Mm-hmm. Where the last movie was so strong, going every which direction. Again, my opinion. I'm sure everyone can have. Again, I think the trick is when you're a little kid, you're watching it, so yeah, like you're not thinking of storylines. As I sat there as an adult this time, for some reason, I was like, that wouldn't add up. You wouldn't do that, or like certain things. Not that you wouldn't do, just certain things I'll explain at the one that comes, and I'll say, yeah, how did this happen? You go, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
you'll get it.
Yeah.
So the two droids knock on a giant door, and basically they are there to talk to Jabba the Hutt, and say there's a message.
That's the blob guy, right?
Yeah, that's the blob guy.
Okay.
Once again, I had a hard time with this because when I was a little kid, when I went to go watch it, they talk in another language and they would have writing.
Mm-hmm.
And being so little, I wouldn't know really, or I couldn't read that fast.
Right.
So a lot of times it was just me watching it, and I can remember watching it going, I have no clue what this is happening. So a lot of times I found like I played while the movie was on, and I would have to go watch it again. Like I had to keep watching it until I was a certain age where you go, oh, 1 + 1 = 2, and 2, like, 'cause I couldn't read.
Mm-hmm.
I believe one time my parents actually, by me saying that, took the time and kind of read it out loud. Probably because I saw it a trillion times. They haven't memorized. They're probably like, oh, Jabba says this, Niles.
Probably told you something completely different.
Probably.
That I would be that
No.
parent. That's why I can't have kids.
I had two, and I have to tell you, I lived it up with my daughter.
Yeah.
I did it all.
Yeah.
I gave her all of it. I mean, I remember one day she came home. I know I'm a little tangent, but she came home and she says, when she was real little, her mom used to call her pretties.
Mm-hmm.
So she says, Dad, why are you calling me pretties? And so her mom says, oh, because when you were born, you were absolutely pretty to me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's not why I thought we called her pretty. And she goes, well, why do you call me pretty? I said, I thought we called you pretty because you were pretty ugly. And she wrote that on the school thing, and everyone laughed. Like that was her like total like.
That's good.
Like her thing.
Like
so
punchline.
Yeah, totally. And she was like, I think it was in second grade. And it was like, oh, everyone found that so funny,
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Like, and nowadays I was waiting for someone to be calling me up, be like, hey,
right.
Kid.
That's why I was like, oh no.
I know, but
the principal.
They all took it like a joke.
Yeah.
Because she laughed at it.
Yeah.
So like I said, they give a message. R2 gives a message, and it's Luke basically saying he wants a meeting with Jabba, and he has a gift, and it's the two droids, and they're like, that's the other thing about this movie, it's really funny. Like there's a lot of one lines, like like C-3PO at this time is like, you idiot, you're playing the wrong message, he wouldn't give us up, like like
right.
I don't know, it was really entertaining at certain times. Again, I don't know if it's the actors sometimes and the writing, but it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then unfortunately we see Solo still frozen, and we have to see that because then it's like, oh, don't forget about this guy, and he's hanging on the wall practically like pretty much like that picture of behind us.
Yeah.
And so the because now they own the droids, they separate the two. So one lands up becoming basically the interpreter for Jabba, and the other one goes to like this boat we don't know for entertainment,
mm-hmm.
which is R2. And then we land up seeing Chewie come in by a bounty hunter, and we're like, okay, and he's screaming, and they basically have a moment where he's like, they're like, he wants, I don't know, like, what was it, like 50,000 credits, and he's like, I'll give you 35, the whole
mm-hmm.
negotiation, and he's like, well, he's got a bomb. And he's like, oh, I like this guy. Jabba's like, I like this guy, but it's only going to be 35, and he's like, okay, fine,
Yeah.
So they give up the Wookiee, and now, this was really bothering me. They show a guard walking, and as the guard's walking by, as Chewie walks by, he takes his mask, and he opens it up, and it's Lando. And I'm like...
In Chewie?
No. It's a guard.
Oh, okay.
And he walks by
mm-hmm.
the Wookiee, and he takes his helmet and he pulls it way down, and it shows it's... Now, obviously, he's doing that for us.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just kind of like at that moment of like, why are you showing everyone your face? Because you're not supposed to be showing... Like, okay, it's you. I get it. It's
mm-hmm.
supposed to be for us. But it's like that one moment where you're just kind of like, I don't know if that would really go. Like, you're pulling your helmet down like that. But then all of a sudden, I don't know about you. Sure, you kind of figure something's going on because the whole crowd's kind of getting together. Like,
Right.
Lando's there, Chewie's just got captured, the 2 droids are there, and so now we see the bounty hunter basically sneaking into like the room that Solo's in, and she unfreezes him by hitting all the buttons, and he's having a hard time because it's like what is it, carbonite sickness, frozen sickness, and so he can't see, he's cold, and of course it's like talking like not a robot, but talking weird, the bounty hunter, and then they take off the helmet and it's the princess. So you're like, oh yeah, and so someone who really loves you, that's what she says. And then you hear Jabba laughing, and all of a sudden I'm like, dude, how many rooms does this guy have? Like, this guy's like obese. Like, how is he like walking from room to room, like slithering, and he's in another room, like, here I am, like, right. Surprise. And they're like, oh, and a big curtain falls down, and so they get caught, and Solo gets thrown in jail with Chewie, and Chewie, we assume, because see, when R2-D2 and Chewie talk, all we hear is the other side of the message, where it's Solo basically saying, oh, Luke is a Jedi Knight now, like, whoa, like, kind of, we get all updated. That was a little thing that kind of bothered me, where we don't know how much time is really spent between these guys. Like he's a Jedi Knight. Well, what he's been doing? Well, how has it been? For me, it was like, how long has it been?
Right.
And of course, we see him, and his hair, like, everything looks different on Luke. Like, he's in a black suit.
I bet you it tells you in those words in the beginning.
10 years later. No, now you're gonna make me go back and watch that part. I hate you. I'm sure someone on Facebook probably knows, or in YouTube. I know YouTube knows. They're all smart. They all got the Google. They'll be like, So, the one thing I do like about this one is that there's tons of Jedi like stuff. There's like Force, like everybody's using it. It's like, this is the last movie. Let's use it for everything. So like so now we see Luke. He's entering Jabba's like thing. I wouldn't say castle, but like fortress. And the princess is in that outfit. Yes.
I looked it up.
Yes. Yes. And just for the record, she hated it.
You got one in your size?
No, yes. No, actually her size.
Nice.
She hates it. Like, in real life, the actress Carrie Fisher hates the outfit.
I would hate that too.
And so the best thing was, what they said was, okay, but even though they're dumbing you down, she lands up killing Jabba. And then it was worth the outfit, because she lands up killing the person who puts her in that outfit. And that was important to her, which I thought that was amazing, because I was like, yeah, that's how it should be. So it definitely gave, especially in 1983, that strong woman, like, yeah, you're
Girl
gonna
power.
gonna make me look like this, but you're not gonna see the end of this movie. Like, and for me, and again, it's the way she kills him. I know we haven't got there yet, but it's like, you're just like, girl power. And of course now Luke come in and he's doing his mind tricks, and he's telling everyone, like, you will bring me to Jabba, you will do this, you will do that, and I'm like, all right, we're really pushing the Jedi trick here. Like, we're really pushing this. And then I didn't care for this, but what happens is he tells Jabba, like, you need to give up now, or it's going to be hell to pay, in so many words. And then they all laugh, and he hits a button, and Luke lands up falling into this like trap door that goes to the thing with this giant monster. And there's like a whole fight with this monster, and he ends up winning by getting in a particular way at the door that he hits a button and the door falls on the monster. And of course, I don't know about you, but I always loved the scene where the monster's like caretaker comes in, and he's like, and there's another guy like, it's okay, he's like, and he's crying, and as Luke gets escorted out, like, that thing just tried to kill me. How is this your pet? You know?
Right.
And of course, then now Jabba's like, what am I going to do? So he decides to put him to the death by flying him out to the middle of the desert where there's this like plant thing that come out of the desert, hole in the thing, and that basically it takes 1,000 years for you to be digested, which is like, it's a horrible way to die, supposedly. And I'm like, a human being doesn't even live for 1,000 years.
Yeah, what if you die in there?
So you just like,
although it's in outer space, so
well, it's
so time's different.
No, time's not different.
Time's different.
Time is time.
Time is different.
Time is relative. So as they're about, and I'm going to fast forward a lot of this. Luke is about on the plank, about to jump, and then he yells, basically, you know, it's your last chance. And you know, they laugh, and then we see R2, and he bumps into CP3O, and he's like. And because he has all these drinks all over him because he's like a waitress, like, or a waiter, I should say, a waiter. And the best part is that then he takes off, R2, and he goes to this part of the ship that Luke looks over and sees him, and like, you know, kind of does the nod, and then you go, and it's the lightsaber being shot out, and then Luke does this whole bouncing thing on the plank. Jumps up, grabs the lightsaber, and just starts, you know, kicking butt. Excuse me. The funniest part about this is Solo still can't see that good. Like he's blind, so he's kind of like, oh, I can kind of see now. Which I don't know about you, it lands up becoming like hilarious because he's knocking people over, Han Solo, like turning, like the whole blind trick. Like, you know, like you turn and you hit somebody and you have no clue they're there and they shoot off. And I love one part where Lando needs his help and he's trying to reach for him and the monster has a tentacle and he's like, oh, pass me the gun, Chewie. And Lando's like, I thought you were blind. you know, and he's like, no, I can see. And he's like, oh, I don't think so. Like, you know, like, and basically... and then the princess chokes Jabba because the power goes out over there. And they basically blow it up. And Luke and the princess have another swinging from one side to the other, like the very first movie. I felt like this movie had a lot of like those, like... I get the impression sometimes if you watch it a certain way, you can say was like he thought this was his last call. So it was like, oh, let me throw all the good stuff that I've made in certain movies and throw into this one. And we'll make a good movie because everyone liked this or that or this or that. So they swing across and it blows up because they set up a gun to shoot the thing and they take off. So now everyone goes, as usual, goes their separate ways. And Luke decides to go see Yoda because he promises him in the last movie to come back. But when he comes back, Yoda's dying. He's sick, not doing good. And he says, let's see how good you are when you're 900. You know, like that classic line of Yoda. And I do not do the good impression of Yoda, so I am not going to attempt to say things the wrong way. Meanwhile, we see the Emperor, and we finally get to see him, and he kind of comes out, and you're just kind of like, oh, this is the guy. Like, we seen him in kind of like a hologram. Now we're seeing him like in real person. And then we kind of flash back, which I kind of was like, why are we flashing back and forth? Like, I almost felt like we should have just done one at a time, but it wasn't bad. But we go back to Yoda, and Yoda basically tells Luke, like, yeah, Vader is your father. And then Obi-Wan Ghost, the Force Ghost, tells him about the twin sister, which is the princess. And basically he's like, hey, I'm going to tell you this, but you got to keep this to yourself, because if the Vader knows, or they're going to basically get you, or her. So now we're on Endor, and now Endor, so what happens is the Death Star has a shield, and the generator is on Endor, which is basically, I would say, a forest planet, or at least that's where we see it's all forest. And so there's this whole thing of setting up of how they're going to. They have to go blow this up. They blow up this generator thing, and it blows up the shield, and then they can blow up the Death Star. Which I'm kind of like, didn't we kind of just do that? Like, didn't we kind of do the same thing? Except that it's not a shield, but we have to do this another mission for this other mission. So now we're split up because Orlando takes the Falcon and the fighters, and they're in space. Solo and the crew, which is the same crew, they go down to Endor. And Luke goes, but then realizes that this is probably not a good idea because Vader can feel the Force. So he's kind of like, okay, I'm only going to help for so long and then I'm out. Like, I really got to go. There is one funny part when they both get on the speeder, one of those things, and they start going. They go, and then Luke jumps on the other one, and she's kind of on her own, and she ends up crashing. And here's the thing: this is where I think some of the problem became. Now, I know you had never seen this movie, but they're on a speeder, which is basically like no wheels, and they're flying, and it's kind of like it's like a bike without wheels. They're flying really fast. A forest. I just told you it was a forest thing, and they're just going through trees. And I'm like, how is everyone able to do this? Because it's just a bike. Like there's no technology that's helping them do it.
Right.
And here's my thing: only people with force ability are able to, be one with the force and know when to move, how to move it. So how does everyone else fly this stupid thing through a forest? Yeah, I know. It kind of like didn't make sense to me. So I was like, all right, this doesn't make sense. And then, obviously this crashes because it becomes a point where everyone's crashing, everyone's dying, everyone's, what I'm talking about, like the bad guys, like type of deals. And good guys. But, I don't know. It just didn't make sense to me with the speeder going through a forest. Like if it had roads or like it had like a pathway, I'd probably go. I can kind of see that, but it doesn't. So I kind of just got like this doesn't really work. Or in my mind, I know they're weaving, but how would you physically weave through a forest when you're going that fast? Like let's just say it's going. Let's just for the exact say going you're 30 miles per hour. 30 miles per hour is not fast, but it's still fast when trees are a forest. Like
right?
Because they're not. A forest is not planted.
It's bricked or blocked out.
Yeah, it's all like it's not blocked out for you. So it's like left, right, go left, right, go. Like that's how you would fly it, and it wouldn't make sense. So I kind of got like and I try to do. When I watch these movies, I always think of my dad because my dad always says it's just a movie, Niles. It's not supposed to make sense, and I'll go like, all right, okay. And then the princess gets separated where she meets the Ewok, which is basically a giant teddy bear. That's really, they're all friggin' as cute as can be. And you're just like, okay. And,
Are you hungry?
Yeah, I guess so. My tummy's like, I'm hungry.
Must be dinner time.
Usually don't eat this but I didn't really eat like I was supposed to at lunch. I got a little lunch. So she meets the Ewok. Now basically they figure out. Oh, this is funny. This was funny. Chewie finds a piece of meat, like like an animal.
Yeah.
And they're like, don't touch it, don't touch it. And then he touches it, and it's a trap. I think we all were like, that's a trap. Don't touch that.
Right.
And they're like, what is it? Why is the piece of what's wrong? And he's like. I can't do it, and
you can't.
Okay, I can't. I can. I just gotta get all phlegmy. I can't do it. All right. I can do it when I'm like. You ever get like a little bit sick? You get like a little phlegm in your throat. Yeah. I can totally do the Chewy yell. So
Bill's really good at it.
Oh yes, I've heard him. Yes. So he lands again, so they get in this giant net, and then R2 goes to cut and the best thing is he cuts one little square, like one thing, and they all fall. And I kind of go, that's not how it works. Like if it's a net, you don't cut one thing and it all falls. but it's a movie, you know. Again,
I think that's how it works.
But it's weird because the first two movies, I never had a moment where I go, that can't happen.
Yeah.
Or if it did happen, it was like, okay, I guess that could happen because your car's flying, so I guess you wouldn't care about the, rock on the ground, or
Right.
And of course, they bring him back to, as they get on the ground, they're all trying to attack Solo and the crew. And then C-3PO sits up and they basically think he's a god, which is always such funny. Because then Solo has the classic line, then get us out of this. And he's like, well, I can't be a god. That's not against my program. Like, I can't act like I'm a god. And then, and they're like, well, do something. Because as they're getting hung by their feet and hand walking back to the village, and it's like, I don't have a good feeling about this. And the princess is there, so they all get back together again. And then Luke tells C-3PO, tell the Ewoks to stop, because they're about to cook them, all of them except C-3PO. And they're like, tell them that you will use your powers. Stop or use your powers. And C-3PO goes like, I don't have powers. This is the best line. Like, right. And he's like, just say it. And so he says, fine. And then Luke uses his force to make him fly around. And of course, C-3PO has to. Ian's here. The Star Wars OG trilogy.
Oh, expert. Ian, perfect. How long has it been since between movies? Because he wants to know.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, that's a good question. My question earlier.
He doesn't read the beginning, so does it tell you in the beginning?
I was trying to figure out how long does it take from Empire Strikes Back. Now, I know in real life it's 1980, so it's 1980 the second movie comes out, and 1983 the third movie comes out. But I'm asking how much time is Luke
like in the movie has
gone by, because everyone's extremely, I guess, different. He's well trained. He's calling himself a Jedi Knight already.
Right.
And we laugh because I never read the very beginning. The thing, I never read it. So that's my question, Ian. Hopefully you can throw us out an answer, buddy. So where am I? Just to keep going till he answers us. So actually, that's where I have the note about story time of telling from the first movie to the second movie. Because I feel like he's so advanced with his force powers, and he's so advanced as a Jedi. How did he get there so fast? Like, they don't even talk. Like, there's no where have you been for the last 3. Like, there's just like, hey, it's Luke. How you doing, buddy? Like,
right.
Like, they act like they haven't, like, they'd seen each other yesterday, but yet
nothing that happened.
You know something had to happen.
Yeah.
And so now Luke is like, he can feel like I told you, he knows that he's kind of the problem because Vader can feel him through the Force. So he turns himself into the Empire, which is a great moment because there's a elevator scene where I swear to God, they should just have elevator music. Just the way they're kind of just standing there as the elevator kind of goes up. But they're talking, and they have a talk about, like it's, just join me, just kind of talk. And then it's like, meanwhile, the Ewoks on the ground forces basically tell them, you don't go through the front door, go through the back door because there's less people. And
same.
Oh my. So, and this is to the shield shed. That's why I want to call it. It's the shield shed.
Yeah.
Because it was Sheila's. No. No.
She shed?
What's that?
She shed?
Yes, but it was Sheila's shield shed. So the Ewoks, this is cute. They're trying to get in. So one of the Ewoks, which I know it's I believe, is it Wicket Wicket was the. I know you don't know, but I think it's Wicket. I love when you give me those eyes, like I don't know. Steals the speeder, and as it's flying, he's holding onto the handlebars, and his legs are totally like. Right.
Yeah, the time passage is vague. Most
Right.
folks feel a year, but I think probably 3 or 4.
Right.
Wikipedia says
it's several months, but it feels like there's certain times that it feels like it's a long time, and then there's moments where you feel like, yeah, I just hung out with you yesterday, no big deal. Like not Hans because Han was frozen, but everyone else, it was just like. So thank you, Ian.
Thanks.
But again, it's real vague, so you get those moments where you kind of, and I get that's what's wrong with this movie. There's a lot of vague moments where you go, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. What's going on here? Like 1 minute it's this way, next minute it's that way. Well, at least that's how I feel. So there's a funny moment with, and then the guards all go after the little Ewok as it's flying, like screaming, which, Jedi. Ian says, yeah, Jedi training ages you quick. Yep, it's so true. That's how I got all these grays.
Right.
Yeah. It's you. As I have grace.
Probably.
Meanwhile, Vader and Luke are seeing the Emperor now. So they're walking in. And I love this part. This is a good part because the Emperor basically says it's a trap. Like all of it is all set up for a trap. Like I'm the one who told you to go get the shield down there. I'm the one who set this up. And I like that part because if you watch the very first 3 movies, like 1, 2, and 3, that's kind of how the Emperor is. Like, I'm just going to leave it like that. Like, he has everything planned out. So, when he talks about that, like, right away in my head's like, yeah, I think in every episode or every movie or everything you've done, at the end of the day, has been a bigger plan. And, I mean, I think I'm not going to spoil this for anybody, but he basically plans Vader, Anakin to become Vader. So he's always 30 steps ahead of everybody. So like in my head, I'm always like, when he said something like that, I was just like, oh, okay. Yes, he does say, I'm afraid that the reflector shield will be quite operational when your friends arrive. And he does that evil laugh. He does it. That's like he's sitting in the chair and he
Can
just
you do it?
No, I can't do it. No, I literally watched this man talk and I was like, because he talks like with his mouth like this, with his teeth, and it's the way he talks. And I'm sure it's because of all his makeups. And I go, I don't know if I can't talk like that. Like it was like the way it's very creepy. And I love the fact that the same actor comes back. He's played that Emperor from episode 1 to the last crappy ones. Oh, see, he's gonna whip out all the. See, Ian's gonna whip out all the quotes. So where am I here? So it's a trap, and then they're basically the Emperor keeps trying to get him to go to the dark side. So going to the dark side means that he needs to like get angry. He needs to do something on like basically strike him down. An unarmed man. You know, he's trying to push Luke's buttons, and he finally does. And to a point that he gets his sword, his lightsaber, I should say, and goes to get the thing. And you know, Vader's like right there, like you know, like you're not gonna touch him. Now. I know I could talk about this another time, but I want to talk about this because Ian's here, so I want to catch it when Ian's here. Now, Ian, we know, or anybody else listening also, now, they don't talk about this, but as a Star Wars fan, we know the power of 2. And I know everyone's like, what's the power of 2? And that means they can, for Sith Lords, that's what the Emperor is, before you're like, there can only be 2. So there's only can be a teacher and an apprentice. That's it. It cannot be any more than that. So they're trying to get Luke, so one of them has to go. Like, and I'm wondering why Vader doesn't understand that one has to go. Now, in the other movie, he says, "Come with me, kill the Emperor, and it'll be you and me." And now we're in a situation where he's already kind of talking like, hey, come with me. I'm going to rule. Your dad's going to be out of here. Like, like you'll be better than your dad. And I'm just kind of like, hello, Vader. Like, do you hear yourself? You're going to get replaced.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand why that's not an issue. Like, I don't understand where you'd be like, wait a minute, what now? Like, you made me, and now you're kicking me to the curb. Like, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of things I didn't catch. Like, if they came up on the elevator and they're like, listen, you need to kill the Emperor. You and me, we can kill him, and then it'll be you and me ruling. Like, he doesn't say that. Like, there's some things I don't catch because there's the rule of two, and I'm not saying that Luke has to get it, but I know Anakin had it, or Vader has to get it, and I know the Emperor gets it because that's why he actually kills Lord Dooku in the first 3 movies, because actually he tries to have another apprentice. He has an apprentice, and it's like, no, it's only 2. It's only 2. So that's my question. I kind of went on a little tangent on that just because I questioned that right away. Like, Vader, he's going to replace you. Like, why are you being okay with that? Like, I'd be like, whoa, wait a minute here. I thought we had a good deal and we're just bringing my son into this. Mm-hmm. Now it's like, no, you're going to replace him. Which I would think you would have of self-privation of yourself, right? That word, right? Where you would say, no, I don't want to die, because it's basically you're going to die. You get replaced by your son. So at this point the trap gets sprung, and they basically start to lose. Like, it's horrible. And this is where I feel it gets a little crazy, because the Ewoks join the war. And it's funny, it's kick-ass, and because then it just becomes like a giant war on the planet. And of course now you have these little teddy bears who have spears and stones and what would you call it? Like slingshots, catapults, and all these things being, like it's all primitive. The part I don't understand is they have giant logs that are swinging from one side to another to blow up things. Who set that up? Like, how did they know there was a war coming? Like, they had this one thing where they pulled. It's not like they woke up and they talked to Princess Leia and they said, oh, there's a war coming. We better get ready for this. Like, you know what I mean? Right. That wasn't any of this. Right. All of a sudden, like, all these things started coming out of nowhere. I'm like, what are you guys, MacGyver? Like, when did you guys get this all
done? They use the Force.
No, they don't use the Force. That's Force. Cute. That's cute.
It's a movie now.
Yeah, it's a movie. That I know. That's where I got, like, it was a movie. And so, there was another great scene where Chewie sees, I knew I was going to forget this. The little 2-leg walking things. It's not a, wait a minute. So Ian writes, I want to credit this. There's a whole lot of diving into the Sith Academy. And from my understanding, with apprentice training eventually kills their master. Yes, so it's the rule of 2. Like, that is, like, that's the rule. There can only be 2 Siths. But there was this great part where Chewie is decided, like, the only way to get in is the top. So Chewie and 2 Ewoks swing, and they do the Tarzan yell, like, as Chewie. And I was like, and that was a moment I was like, did that really happen? I actually rewound it on the thing, and I was like, oh, it did. I was like, I never noticed that.
I love me a nice Tarzan innuendo.
I laughed at that. I did. I laughed at that. Like, I actually had a proper laugh at that. Like, as an adult, there's very few things that make me really laugh. But that was a moment I was like, no one's ever, like, as long as I've been around, I've never heard someone say, hey, remember when Chewie, like, was yelled like a Tarzan as he swung with 2 Ewoks on him? I was like, no.
That's so funny.
It really was. The princess lands up getting shot on her arm. This is a great moment. I told you about throwing that. So the stormtroopers are moving in, and as she's sitting there, Solo looks at her, and because she shot, and he's like hanging right over her, and all of a sudden he turns and he sees the stormtroopers coming in, and then you see her having a gun in her hand, like, and she goes, so Solo goes, I love you, and she goes, I know, and then shoots the guy like right behind him. So
oh my god,
that was like a great moment.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, Luke and Vader, they're doing this fight talk thing because he doesn't want to fight with him because this is his dad, and so there's a moment they fight a little bit, and then they stomp and they talk like, you know, you have good in you, I can feel it, and then you're just kind of like, okay, you get it. Like I get it as an adult. Like okay, as a kid, I can remember going, let's just fight. Like I want this is the big hula. I want this to be, you know, and basically there's a lot of cool thing. I like the when he Vader throws his lightsaber and it hits the thing. Hits the catwalk and he goes sliding and then it comes back to him and I go, oh, that's awesome. Like, you know, that's an awesome, you know, move. And then of course, because Luke is trying to stay calm, Vader lands up finding out about his sister, the twin sister. And so he's like, oh, there's another Skywalker, your twin sister. So I felt like at that moment, it's like, I don't need you. I'm going to just go for your sister. You know, like I don't need you. And I'm right back to the whole, what are you doing? You're basically going to, what? Kill yourself because he's already said, the Emperor saying you'll take your father's place. So it's not his place you'll be taking.
Right.
It's your father's, if you catch my drift on that.
Yeah.
And then Luke just, I'm going to say this straight out, and it is what it is. Luke goes apeshit on Vader. He comes out and it's like, don't you touch Leia. And because, he just comes, I don't want to say it's anger. It's just coming from everywhere. Like, it's protection. Like, you know, we're all good until you cross this line. And basically lands up beating Vader by cutting off the hand that's holding onto the lightsaber. And we all know that, you know, he's half robot anyway. But the hand he cuts off is the one that Anakin does lose. So it is the proper robot hand. And so now, you know, the Emperor's basically on his back saying, kill him, finish him. And he's like, I won't finish him. Like, you know, I got here, I'm not doing this. You know, he's disarmed. And he looks at his father's hand and kind of looks at his hand. And you feel like there's one moment where there's like, oh yeah, I did this to you and you did this to me. And I don't know, like there's just a moment. I think it's one of those things. You can watch it and tell me a whole nother thing. Like you'd be like, I felt that he thought this way. I think it's really open to whatever.
What he was
like,
feeling.
Yeah, I really do. Because there's times that I've watched it and I've had a different opinion about it, or I'll go, oh, it's this or it's that, and that's how I feel about that. And of course, you guys have, yeah, it was a very powerful scene, Ian. It was, because you got to a point where he's like, I'm not fighting with my dad. I'm not doing this. I'm not, you know, like I'm not killing my dad.
Right.
Okay. And again, it's the whole, because he does have a moment, Luke, that says, you know, Dad, you haven't killed me yet for a reason. And of course Vader's like, I haven't killed you yet because I'm hoping you'd cross. You know, it's like one of those things. And it's like, no, because you're a good guy. No, I'm not. You know, one of those, you don't see me cry. You know, like, yeah.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
Right, yeah. That's exactly what it's one of those moments. So he wants to fight. Now we flipped back to Solo and back on the thing, and now they're basically going to blow up the shields because they basically. Oh yeah, we did have a moment where R2 gets shot, and then he kind of like goes on the fritz, and I love the moment where he says C-3PO says, "Why do you have to be so brave?" And it's like, if you watch those series, any of them, even the Clone Wars on the cartoon, like that little droid goes above and beyond where you would go, yeah, I'm not, you know, and he puts himself out. So I feel like I know these three are the original, but there's so much more that they keep that character going. And I love the fact that they keep him that way. They never changed him. Like, he didn't go to another series or another part of history and you go, yeah, he's not so brave. Or, you know, he's a chicken shit here. Like, they keep him brave. The part that So he can't open the door, so Han says, "Oh, I'll do it myself." I was thinking, and then more doors close. He's like, "Oh." And you just knew it too. And of course, Harrison Ford totally sells it like, oh crap, like like I didn't do anything. But they get in, and then they start putting stuff, and they're gonna blow it up. And then, so we now switch back. Meanwhile, because I keep going with my meanwhile. Now this is the first time we see energy or force lightning, because now the Emperor's using force lightning on Luke, saying basically, well, you're not going to join us, so I have to kill you. And the graphics are crap, but I want you to know in 1983, those graphics looked real. And I watch that and I go, wow, that's crappy. And I go, no, it's not. That's real. Because I remember being a little kid going, lightning is coming out of that guy's hands. And, you know, the best part is, for me, is another powerful moment, or at least for me, like Ian, you can disagree with this, but he calls for his father. He's like, Dad, help me, Father, help me, And I love the fact that it's a mask on Vader, but they keep having him turn and look at the Emperor, look at his son, look at the Emperor, look at his son, and there's no expression. It's a robot face. There's no expression, but I feel like at that moment I was like, you're going to do it. You know you're going to do it. And I'm like, how am I even getting this feeling when... Oh, yeah. Okay, so we got... Ian says, young fool, only now at the end you will understand. That's true. That's what he does. And you just go, oh. But he has that moment where Vader just keeps looking back and forth, and you just know it. I don't know, you feel it. And let's give credit to the guy who was underneath. I know several people played Vader, but whoever played him during this one, he really... Because I was like, I don't know how I'm feeling it. Like, you just feel it.
Yeah.
Which I want to give credit to that. So he ends up picking up the Emperor with one hand and carries him. Now he's getting electrocuted because it's going everywhere. And I kind of had that moment where, so if you're using your lightning powers and someone picks you up and now lightning's going everywhere, why don't you stop? Is that like peeing? Once you start, you can't stop because it stings, Like you can't stop. Have you ever peed and then stopped halfway through? And no,
I don't think men can do that.
No, I know. Maybe women can. I know I can. I get like, oh, that hurts. I've tried.
Really?
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts. We'll have a whole podcast on it.
That's our next podcast.
No, it's not.
The anatomy.
That's funny though. So, but you can just tell, he throws him. I don't know, Ian. Wow, talking about a tangent. I missed the whole. Ian did say, yeah, it makes me get teary-eyed every time, and I assume he's talking about the
Your
moment.
peeing?
No, not my peeing. About the whole, father when he finally gets it, because you feel it, and I don't get it. Because I don't get it because there's no facial expression.
Right.
Usually you'll see a parent have that moment where you just go, oh yeah, they're battling this moment. And you can't. There's no face. It's a mask just turning its head. But yet it's the way you turn your head? I don't know. You feel it. Yeah. But so he gets thrown off the... I'm going to say it goes down to the power source. Basically it's a giant tube... That's basically you're getting thrown off a building, and then you see the big blue light comes oh, that was him. He's gone. He's done. It was like that. Yeah. And of course now we're under the assumption because nothing's said, his suit is all fried. So I assume all the things on his suit that kept him alive is now fried, and now he's dying. And of course, Luke is unbelievable, and he is now carrying his father because he won't leave his father behind.
Ian says, same with 3PO. He has no expression, but you can almost see one on the mask.
Right. I think with 3PO, it's for me, the difference is that he has a range on his voice where sometimes you get the expression because the way he kind of because most of the time with him it's body language because he's very you always see him from the hip up, And it's always like him doing those moments where I think Vader doesn't have. That's a tough car.
Yikes.
Doesn't have.
We have the window open. Sorry, guys.
Have that moment like that. Like,
Yeah.
So now we go back and now so now the shield's down. Lando's now flying into the half-built Death Star. You okay? What did I say? Did I say something funny? Well, Ian, that was a very sick car driving by. That's what it was. I have so many comments I want to answer that. There's so many things I could be inappropriate and answer that question. There's like a plethora.
All of it, yeah.
I'm like, it's killing me that I have to look at my paper and move on because I really want to go on a tangent and just be like, I just want to be like, that was me moving my hip. Oh my God, she's sweating. Woman down.
Me getting out of bed.
Yeah. It must have been
Me
you
realizing I woke up and
you after the gym. Here we go. We were having a good moment too. So now Lando is flying into the half-built Death Star that the shield's down. And of course, hang in there. Let's get through this. Oh, it's a good one too, huh? It's a good one. You're having too many thoughts in your head. So Ian writes, and I want to give Ian the moment. I wish I had the sound effects, which we're going to be getting soon, because we should have a drum roll here. It says someone needs to clean their pants. After that, so it was. Wait a minute. Can we classify that as a true skid mark? I don't even know if the YouTubers can even hear that noise because the phone.
God, I hope they can.
Because the phone that's doing the live is practically out the window. Because we have to be so far back so they can see us.
Oh my God.
And YouTubers, if you're not catching that joke, there was a loud car with a screeching thing went by. And we are fully getting entertained by this at this moment. Oh, here we go. All right, guys. All right.
Ian, you're killing me.
I know. Okay, guys. Woo. All right. I'm trying to be the straight man here.
Well, it's not me.
It can't be you. I love that we can joke. So Lando lands up flying into this half-built thing. Mm-hmm. And he has to fly like all the way to the center. And I'm just kind of like, the Falcon's so big and it's flying through this. And they have it set up that like the Falcon just fits through everything. You know, it's tight. It was tight.
No, I'm still laughing.
You're still laughing at the thing. I know you are.
I can't breathe.
I know. In with the good air, out with the... Rib. So, of course, they blow it up. And then they blow up the whole thing. And I'm like, again, that was great. We blew up the whole Death Star for the second time. And then, this is a good moment. Let's have a moment here. No, because so Luke is now trying to rescue Vader. Vader tells him to take off his mask so he can see him with his true own eyes. And he takes off the mask. And he says, basically, it says, "You're right, Luke." And he's basically, "You're right." And he keeps saying, "You're right." And he's basically talking about, like, it was good inside of him. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Tell your sister, there is good inside me." And, yeah. I don't know. That scene of Lando flying in and out is I'm kind of like, it just fits so perfect. Like, everything fits so perfect. You're just kind of like, come on now. Like, there has to be a point where you're like, oh, can't go any further. Someone else has to keep flying. Nope, They can go right to the core. And so he basically drags his father dies, and he pulls his father into the escape. And we don't really see how they escape. He escapes, but we know he escapes. And then, so the princess lands up telling Solo that Luke is her brother because he's like, "Oh, you love him. I get it." And it's like, "No, you idiot. He's my brother."
Yeah.
And then I was waiting for Solo to go, Han to go, "Yeah, you know you kissed him in the second movie, right?" You gave him a love lock. Originally, they had Harrison.
Step bro?
Yeah. And the Falcon exploded. Oh, so they originally had that. I didn't hear that. I didn't know that. So originally they had him flying and then it would have exploded. Yes, I did know that. So Ian writes, because Harrison Ford wanted Han Solo to die for a while. Yeah, he wanted him to die. He thought because he was living on the way he lived his life that he probably would have died at some point. Like, not living to be an old man, which I kind of understood. So I did like the fact that Luke burns Vader, the body and suit. Like he ends up burning all of it, like a Viking type of like ritual, which I love that part. I think that's a very, I don't know, it's just a good way to like have that moment where he's standing in front of the fire. You can see the mask starting to melt. Like it's just a beautiful moment. For me, it was. And then we see, of course, now if you're watching Disney Plus like me, you don't have a choice to what you get. Because these aren't the original 1983. These are the remakes in the 2000s. Like we see every planet partying. We go back to with the Ewoks, and they're having a huge party, and I'm just kind of like, there's just CGI scenes that you just know, like, I don't know, I don't think it needed to be there. And then of course I absolutely hate this one. This is the one I hate at the ending, because the ending shows Yoda, Obi-Wan Kenobi as Force ghosts. But now, instead of seeing old man Vader in these, you see episode 1 Vader. So it's that it's the actor who plays him as a young kid. And I'm like, whoa, you don't die and get young. Look at Obi-Wan. He's still old. He didn't die and become this guy. Like, Yoda didn't die and become young. Like, become a young ghost. So tons of discussion on why they put Hayden. That's his name, Hayden. Thank you. Like, I had a real problem with that, Ian. Like, I had a huge problem with that. Like, what was wrong with the old guy? Like, the guy who played him actually had a moment as the thing originally. I hated it, and of course it ends like that. That's how it ends, and I'm just like, shit, crap movie. Like, I don't know, like, because I mean, it's not a crap movie, but yet it is a crap movie, because I feel like the second movie is so impacted with tons of things being thrown at you 24/7, is that when we were already getting to the third movie, I always felt like it was going to be a letdown, because you already knew we were going to fight with Vader, and I talked about this at the very beginning. You knew you were going to fight with Vader, and you knew you were going to free Han Solo. And I feel like the first half of that movie, as soon as we left Jabba's, it was like we kind of just got into this, oh, well, let's just do the whole Death Star trick again. Again, I don't understand. And let's just go with what, at the same time with them adding the Vader's no, yes. Because originally he doesn't say no, and he ends up saying no. And the part that I'm going to really think that I really had a problem is that, let's just go, because Ian looked it up, of the whole, let's say it's several months. It's the Death Star is the side of a moon. What? Who's working with the Empire to build a moon in a couple of months?
Right.
Or let's just go, because he said could be up to a year. I'm like, how is that working? Empire can build a moon, and I can't even get my roads in my town not to have giant potholes in it. How's that happening?
Right.
It's a movie, I know, but it's like, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of things I think in the third movie that just makes me kind of go, wait, what? what now?
Mm-hmm. You
Like,
could have changed it.
Yeah, not changed it. Just kind of. It almost felt like, all right, we did the first movie, amazing. Oh, I got this great story, how to keep all three going. There are three directions in the second movie,
Mm-hmm.
and it's boom, 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 and you get that, oh, Luke, I am your father. Like, you get that one moment. And then, I think, okay, so Ian Wright, I think they focused on getting a super laser working. Yeah, it's one of those things where they kind of get this moment where they're like, okay, we got to have something big for the last movie, and it kind of didn't make sense because you killed the big thing in the first movie.
Right.
So I don't know if it could be now. I know, like if you say, okay, well, what happens if they blew it up and they started building the next day? Like, okay, of the first, and then you go into the third. Still, I mean, I don't understand how that even got there. Like, you know what I mean? Like the first time we was.
So you need a movie in between the movies.
Yeah, like that's what they're doing right now. I know you don't know this, but they make cartoons, which was the Clone Wars, and that's all between the 1, 2, and 3. Like they're all spread out. Rogue One was right before New Hope, which is the number 4 movie. Mm-hmm. Like they've made a few. Wait a minute. They did the Rebels, which is. Oh, hold on. Rebels is, I know. Is it after Empire after Hope, or is it? I don't know, because they're all thrown into different timelines. Mm-hmm. It's one big story. It is one story, and they have it working really good. Yes. So see, Clone Wars are between 2 and 3, and Rebels is between 3 and 4. Okay, I'm slightly off, right? But it's great. I mean, they do a great job. I actually think the animated cartoon series, or whatever you want to put it, is 1,000 times better than the actual movies, because they're half-hour episodes. They talk about each fight. They explain more to you how things start crossing over, or like they're adding the 2 and 2. It's almost like, and I'm going to blame this last movie, like the Return of the Jedi. It was kind of like, yep, we're going to throw this in. Yeah, Rebels is incredible. And then of course we have the Mandalorian. Like we can still go like this even more. I don't know what Sonoko's. And she's so cool. I love this girl. But she's in the Mandalorian. But she's in the Clone Wars, and supposedly she's supposed to have her own series. And I can't wait for that, because I am definitely watching that. I know you're not, but I am. Mm-hmm. And the other big thing that I feel is, now, after watching this movie now, it really does make me. Oh yes, and they're also making an Obi-Wan Kenobi series, which is supposed to be I believe it's supposed to be before Luke, before 4, and after 3. So that should be good, because it's like the time we don't know what happened to him. Like. Mm-hmm. Basically, when he became a general and he kind of went into hiding, and what happened to him before he got old and we saw him walking down all being gray and meeting Luke. Mm-hmm. But the thing that I'm going to say is, I felt like Return of the Jedi had that moment where I believe this new series does. The new series, I'm talking about the brand new 3 movies, where it's kind of like, I feel like, oh, we introduced A, we introduced B, but it's all about this, and we're just trying to get to this. Yeah. Whatever it is, we're just trying to get to this. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what loses it, because we're so focused on getting here that it's not really, like, we don't really learn enough about the characters or whatever. And that's my opinion. I know some people love the new ones. I don't hate the new ones. I just don't feel like the new one gives enough back. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's kind of like, basically I watch it for the cameos, like to see what happened to the original group that was in the first 3 movies. And once they were kind of done, or, and it was just kind of like, okay, I could care less about these guys. Like, yeah, I kind of got that. Again, these are my favorite because I grew up with them. I know as an adult, as being 45 to watching it, I did have a different moment of going, where did those logs come from? Like, how are they all set up?
Yeah.
Where I didn't feel that way ever I almost feel like he kind of rushed this one.
Mm-hmm. They need to like conclude everything.
Yeah, like I need to finish this up.
Like there should have been a movie in between.
Right.
Or I know you said they're making another one, but like they should have stretched it out a little bit more.
No, I don't know. I don't want to say stretch it out of like thing. I think it just was like I almost felt like it was too regular of a movie to be the finale. How's that? Like it was too like casual. It was like, oh, we're on this planet. We have to shut down the shield. Oh, we have to. This is how we're gonna win the war. Like, there's never a moment like, all right, guys, I have to go. Once I get Vader and the it's all done. Like we don't have to worry about this or that. It's gonna be like it's just was focused on certain things to kind of keep everyone else busy while Luke have this moment with his father. And I just kind of get like, but that's what it felt like. It felt like I'm giving you busy work when I go take care of Dad. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Everybody else has an opinion. Please write it out, or write to us, or write it on the YouTube, on the comments. Wow, this is like a novel. I feel like we just went dead quiet because we're like, okay, hold on, we're reading. Look at it. It's like dead quiet. We don't even talk. Yeah. Yeah, Ian, I get it. I mean, I don't want to hate on anything. I mean, I actually you saw it on VHS. You must be younger than me because I actually saw it on those old-fashioned disc players where you have to put on one side and then put it in, flip it over, and then like it was a giant CD, but you need to flip it with the actual case. And then my dad got Beta because that was going to be better than VCR. Yeah. Guess where that landed us? Buying a VCR 5 years later. Oh, you're born in '80. Oh, you're not that much. I was born in '76. So you're not that much different than me, Ian. But yeah, I mean those movies were definitely a cornerstone. I went to them all with my dad, and I've gone to every movie. I went to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all with my dad.
That's cute.
I wound up seeing the Clone War movie with my son. He got into it, but not really. Like he liked them and got into them, and then he had a certain age when he's like, "Yep."
Yeah.
My daughter did not like any of them. I don't know. It's just that's how she is. We're all different.
Yeah.
I don't know. So we're officially done with these 3. Will you ever watch them? No. You're not geeky enough.
Probably no.
You're not geeky enough. You're geeky in a different way, but you're not.
Yeah.
You're not geeky. You're not a sci-fi geek.
No.
I don't know. I've watched all that stuff. Star Trek, Star Wars. Like it just. I always just keep thinking to myself, yeah, I could do that.
I have one client that I go to her house to do
hair.
Well,
nails.
Anything pretty much. She's 80. Don't get twisted.
Hey, when I'm 80, I'm 80.
Anyways, she's always watching Star Trek or those shows or whatever.
That's right. That's right, Ian. Geeks forever, baby. That's so true. Us goofy geeks are sticking together. I started this page as a Goofy Who page, but eventually when my admins really talked to me about making it into a geek page, and I've loved it since then because I really do love everything else. It's just not Doctor Who. I love other things, so it really does really make you open up your eyes. I don't know. It's just something about that's the other thing that I really love is that it brings it all together. It brings us all together when you're a geek about something.
Yeah.
Like you sit down and you just it should be easy, even though some people get too crazy about their opinions, especially lately. But yeah, I think like again, when I talked about it, I was like, I wonder if you watch it, what you would think or how things would be different. And that's what I like. I like when you can watch something and kind of go, what did you feel there? I felt something, but not this, Yeah. Oh, are you a Star Trek fan? All right, so real quick, because I know this isn't Star Wars, but as always, Star Trek and Star Wars always kind of go hand in hand. Okay, so Ian, Star Trek. What's your favorite Star Trek? Real quick. I know what mine is. Do you know? Oh, you don't watch it, but mine was.
I've seen Spaceballs.
Oh, that's a great movie. That's almost Star Trek. That's almost Star Wars right there.
Just break the joint, huh?
That's almost like that. My favorite is.
Isn't it a parody of it?
Yeah, it's a parody.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be. That's one of my favorite comedies.
We should talk about that.
The Next Generation. Mine too, Ian. I like Ian even better now. I am. And I've watched Voyager. I've watched Deep Space Nine, which they're supposed to be redoing. I watched Discovery right now. I watched Picard, but like I've watched almost all of. I watched the original Star Trek, and I keep saying the only thing I hate. There's only one thing I can't watch. I have watched, but I can't watch is the first movie in Star Trek because it's just like I feel like I fall asleep. It's because it's like 20 hours showing you the ship. I'm like, yeah, I've watched it on TV. I don't need to see it anymore. It flies through the air. I get it. It's space. Like, I don't need to see it anymore. Oh, I know. Q comes back, Ian. Q comes back. Oh, I can't wait. I know. You're like, what? But
all right.
It's about that time. Anything else you want to close up with? Because this is the end with this.
What would you like me to close up?
No, anything else you would like to say of this podcast?
No, I'm really starting to I'm really trying not to laugh about the car again.
What are you talking about? The car. Yeah, I know that loud screech. My thing is...
I think it was Ian's responses that just...
Well, no,
really
it's ours too, because I know,
but he was playing off of us.
I was so sitting there going, I could say so many things.
Right.
Even though that whole skip mark was pretty funny.
Thanks, Ian.
Yeah, I cried when... Oh, yeah, I know. How did you feel when Data finally died? I got teary-eyed. I know you're like, what? Data died like 5 times already, but it's like this is the last time. And I was just like, oh, just go already, Data. All right, so I don't know what our next topic is, but it'll be next Thursday at 7:00.
Mm-hmm, a new time.
And then that's on Goofy Geek on Facebook.
These will still be out on Tuesdays.
These will be on Tuesdays. Usually it's somewhere in the morning, but it's on Tuesday. Just hit that little bell, subscribe, or whatever.
Leave a comment.
Do a little dance.
Share
do
it
the whole
for you.
Share it to friends, to neighbors. So, you know what? I've been telling all my friends to just share it to deaf people because they seem to like it the most.
Stop it.
No, I'm only kidding. No, but I don't know. Have you ever watched those YouTube guys? They're so good at that. They're like, hit the little bell, all of them. Right. I'm like, I sit home and I try to practice that. I say, hit, and then you know what? I sit here and I'll talk about the topic.
It's like, okay, I don't know about you. This is going to be a tangent too, but when you go through a drive-thru.
Okay.
I have to practice what I'm going to say because as soon as I get there, I'm like, I don't know what I want.
No.
Or if they catch you like right in the middle of it, all right, I got one more practice in me before they ask, and then they like interrupt you at last practice, and I
have that same anxiety because I feel at any point, and this is what it's funny because when I do the lives for the boutique or I do lives here, like whatever, it's like, what am I gonna say? Right. And I heard on the radio someone talking about baseball because I listen to sports. I'm a big sports fan, and they were talking about the ALCS, but the guy said ALCS, and for 20 minutes I was at work like in tears in my eyes, going, "That's me." Right. See, that's what I don't want to say.
Right.
Like, I know I'm gonna say. Or the very first time I did a live for the boutique.
Yeah.
It was like, Niles, whatever you do, don't make a dirty joke. Niles, don't make a dirty. Fine, I'm not gonna say a dirty joke. Oh, we have a and it was a Pocahontas bow, which came out Pocahontas bow.
Yeah.
Which everyone died laughing.
Right.
Thank the gods, because, by the way, we got kicked out of that group, and we're in another group that we're allowed to tell. Ian says, you guys have to find a way for me to join in voice or video. Well, Ian, here's the trick. I know there's a way to do it on Facebook, but I don't know how to do it on the podcast. So that'll have to be something we'll have to figure out.
I guess there's going to be a lot of Googling in my future.
I don't know. We are barely doing this because we've had the video shut down every single time.
I don't know if it's not recording right now.
Every time we open this computer to do the podcast, it takes us almost 20 minutes to set it up. Yeah. We are talking about two people who are the least, like, we need to hire like a third person, because this is like a disaster.
Hire for free.
Because usually she has to jump up, turn this off, turn it on. Only reason why I don't jump up because I'm always in the inside.
Right.
And it's like every time we keep trying to do, this will make it easier. Oh, it's another thing we have to turn on and off.
Right. Right.
Then we had to do we have the tablet here because we can't read the phone because it's so far away from the line.
It's outside and we're inside.
We're outside.
It's in that truck.
I'm going to snort. That's funny. It was a drive-by. It just drives by. That's the noise you hear. Every few minutes it stops and turns around. That's funny. Okay. Oh, let's end off with a good laugh. I know no one laughs. Somehow I think it's just us that laughs, but I don't care. I think it's funny.
Right.
All right, guys. Have a good night. We'll see you next Thursday at 6. And and no, it's no more skid marks, not skid buys, Ian. And on that note, good night, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Guys.